Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us. We are going to wait just another minute to let people join us. But I hope everybody is having a great Wednesday. Lyndee, how's your Wednesday going?
Beautiful. It's a beautiful day out. We needed a break in that summer heat, so it's looking good.
Yeah, same. Yeah, it's definitely cooler, which I appreciate. Um, For those of you who are joining us, welcome. There is a chat in your bottom right-hand corner. You're welcome to say hello. If you have any thoughts or feedback, Jordan, I'm glad you have your snack ready. That's great. I love a fig bar. Um, if you want to tell us your favorite snack in the chat, we'd love to know it. But you can ask any questions there throughout the snack break. If you have any questions or any thoughts, feel free to put them either in the chat or you can send me a question directly under the questions tab, and we will get to that when we get to the Q&A at the end. So, Lyndee, if you want to go ahead, I'll say, and go ahead and get started, and we'll go from there.
Awesome. Thank you. Okay, thanks everyone for being here. Yeah, today we're talking about meta ads, and they shouldn't feel like a guessing game. So the question becomes like, where are the conversions? And that's what we're hoping to answer today, is to help you get down that path. So I'm Lyndee. I'm a digital marketing strategist going on 17 years next month. And what I'm really good at is figuring out what marketing is actually working for you and looking at the patterns and how they all connect. So that's what we're seeing today. I wanted to share some of my favorite summer snacks since we're in the midst of it. And of course, I need to have my cold brew on the special days. I add chocolate. And everybody here knows that if I'm going on a road trip, I need Chex Mix, homemade Chex Mix. I have all of the stuff ready. I'm making some later today. So I'm really excited to get that back in. Mary Beth, I think you mentioned something earlier, but what's your favorite summer snack?
I do love a homemade Chex Mix. Store brand, like, it's fine, but there's something about a homemade baked Chex Mix that is just next level. My mom added oyster crackers last time.
Okay.
Because out of something else, highly recommend. They were delicious.
Yeah.
I'm not a coffee drinker, but a crisp Diet Coke or Diet Dr. Pepper is my go-to. Year round, summer, spring, winter, fall.
It's cold and refreshing. It sounds good. We're getting some good stuff. Yes, Diet Coke, Chex Mix, root beer floats. No, I don't do that one. But okay, well let's talk about meta ads. And when I talk about meta ads, we're talking about Facebook and Instagram ads, right? So if you're running them, I'm guessing these things are sounding familiar. If that you have campaigns up and maybe you're struggling for those conversions. You've changed the headline, you've gotten and added more campaigns, maybe you swapped out the creative, like you're trying all these things and it still feels like it's not enough. Like, where are the leads? Where are the conversions? Where are the phone calls? So let's figure out why and what's happening maybe in your meta ads that get you to closer to more conversions. It's almost always one of these three things, and we're going to talk about each one of these today. So budget. It's usually spread too thin, so we're going to talk about that. Your audiences, I'm going to tell you, you're probably overthinking it. And then your creative is actually not doing enough work, and that's going to be, I'm really excited. That's my favorite part of today. So we'll get to these first two and talk about how creative is like the magic thing that we need to focus on now. So let's stop guessing and start being more strategic. Okay, so reason number one, like I said, is budget. We need to stop guessing on the budget structure and know that more campaigns don't actually mean more results. A lot of what I'm talking about today is about small and medium businesses that are under, $500 a day, because most of my clients I work with are between $1,000 and $10,000 a month. And in Meta's eyes, those are still small budgets to be working with. And we need to work with the system and use it to our best, because there's a lot of possibility with meta ads that we may be missing out on because of these things that we've been doing and setting up differently. Because really, when we're having those $30, $50, $100 a day budgets, Meta can't take that into 5 different campaigns and getting it to work very well for us. So we need the algorithm to function a little better. We needed to give it the fuel to get it moving, so that it can learn and give us what it wants. So otherwise nothing works, and we get stuck here. So for many years, the problem is that for many years we were taught that this is how we do it. This is what we were told to do, what's worked, but it no longer does. So I'm going to try to break us out of this pattern. Is like, let's say we had $30 a day. That's $1,000 a month budget. That's a nice, starting point for a lot of small businesses. Usually we would say you have 3 products or 3 campaigns or 3 lines of service, and we have each one. What we've done in the past is we'll split that up, $10 each, and we give it different ad groups based on what creatives or audiences we're targeting. The problem becomes that we now get this like warning on the campaign, on the ad groups that say limited learning. What that tells us is that Meta cannot optimize. It can't do all of its work that it is known to do to make it function for us. So we're kind of working against the system when we are having it broken out like this. The other problem becomes, let's say you get asked, hey, I need to add a new campaign. We want to launch another product. You start to question, well, where is that money coming from? Am I pulling it out of B and C? What about if I turn that off and we lose those leads? Like becomes a very complex system, and you're moving things around a lot. And that also is not great for the algorithm. Okay, so this is what we were taught to do, and we need to step back from this and use the system and how it is designed to use today. And it looks more like this, okay, where we have the same campaign or same daily budget, let's say $30 a day, but instead of having separate campaigns, we have one large campaign, and within it, different ad groups. So each ad group, it gives Meta, so we give it $30, and it says, okay, maybe the ad group 1 and 4 are performing better. We're going to give them a little more. We're going to be pushing over here. It's performing better because that's what your audience is actually connected to. They're liking what they're seeing. They're relating to it. They are the right audience, right? So we're going to let go of the control that we've had in the past, but give it to Meta, and we're going to be trusting it to make those decisions and push it where we want to, because we're giving it all the right information. So if something does come up, like we have a limited learning on this ad group, we can just turn it off, and there's not a lot of work that needs to be done. You can move the ads around, and just it gives it less control from your end, but you're going to have more control on more focus on what you can control later. So and then if you want to add more in, you can easily add more in, more flexibility. You're not having to think, what am I taking away of to give to here? So that's because a lot of the magic is coming in later, like in step 3, like we're going to talk about soon in the creative. But right now, think about restructuring your campaigns this way. So let's talk about an action item for number 1 is to audit your active campaigns. If you are seeing anything that comes up with limited learning warnings, that's going to be your sign that you don't have enough budget behind it for Meta to actually learn. Can you consolidate anything? Can you put any ad groups together into one campaign budget? Because Meta needs the data to help you get to where you want to go. They want you to succeed, and this is how we can help them do that. Okay, that's it for step 1. And we're going to go into what now is reason number 2. Okay, and this is a fun one. We're going to stop guessing your audience. Okay, we're dropping the old playbook of stacking interest and behaviors and lookalikes and all of these things that Meta used to be able to do for us. And you can bring them in later, but really that has not been equaling better targeting when we're talking about these like smaller, what Meta's eyes, smaller budgets. If you're only spending several $100s a day, several $100s a month. If you have more than that, then we can talk about adding in more audience layers. But right now, we need to be using Meta in the way of finding new people maybe finding some old new people and bringing them back in. Because what Meta is really good at is finding buyers based on your ads, not exactly on these interest stacks that they've had in the past. So what that looks like, it's definitely a change from what we've thought for a very long time, and it can take some like time to test it out and use it. But there are a few things I do want that you do have control over. So start here and leave the rest. Age, that is still a really good one to look at, because if you have an audience, a lot of times, a lot of audience campaigns I set up of 25 plus. We're not looking for people that are 18 to 25 or, in that age. Some have a cap. So maybe you don't want to go 65 over or 50 and over. You can add these parameters in here to help with that like targeting of here. That's a good one. But the number one that I will always use is geo. And that's going to be, state targeting, zip code targeting, your radius targeting. Especially for smaller businesses, this is where we have the most control and where I'd put most of our targeting effort. So if you know where you want to reach, you can do that here. And you can also play around with that a little bit more when you start growing the account or you're scaling. Like, for example, the radius, if you have a location, you can put it down in your location, say 20, 30 miles out from here is who we want to reach. Or if you have hot markets that you want to reach by state or zip code, this is a great way too. So I will add in that you can add some qualifiers if necessary. Things like, when I say that, I think about things like home ownership, or if they're a parent, that can help narrow in some and keep it within what you need, only if you really need those. But we're going to be letting the ads do a lot more work rather than this layer of audiences like we used to think about. So for a quick check while you're working on this is to review your frequency number. Your frequency tells you how many times somebody saw an ad. This is a campaign. You can see I'm in meta ads here. And I'm in my campaign looking at all of my ad sets and all the ads I have within that ad set. This is a 30-day window. We can see that anywhere between like 1.06 to 1.62. That means somebody is seeing the ad less than 2 times. But we have a variety of ads here. So they might be seeing multiple of them, but really they're not overextending. We're not hitting them too many times with the same, ad. And not, we're not giving it, is it working or not? So we have multiple ads. They're hitting them not too many times because we're trying to reach new people. And if Meta is learning, well, they're never going to click. They're going to stop delivering to them. Whereas if we have lots of audience targeting, what I've seen is that it can go to 5, 6, 7 in a 30-day period, and the person's not engaging, they're not clicking through. It's because we're trying to reach a very small amount of people. So this lower frequency number is what I'm aiming for. I'd love to see a 2 on these, and that means we're reaching new people, and that's really what we want. Again, this is a bit of a different, mindset shift that we're doing, but really it's working, and it's working with the system that Meta has today. So for your action item number 2, I would encourage you to test a broader audience campaign. You can add in age and geo, leave the rest behind, let the creative, that's the magic that we're going to be talking about, do a lot of the filtering for you. And it will take time. This isn't going to be an overnight see success in a different way. It's going to take time for it to work. You can leave both on at the same time and kind of like funnel money out of one into the other. You should start seeing the lower cost per CPMs, maybe lower cost per clicks. You should start seeing higher click rates, and then hopefully more conversions than when they get to your website. So try this out. This is also based on setting up the new campaign structure, using the broader audience when you do it. Okay. Now, as we go to number 3, this is stop guessing your creative. Okay. We have audiences doing less. Now your creative is going to be doing more. Okay. We think a lot about our creative, but I'm going to push it even further for us today. So we need more options of creative, because creative is what is doing the targeting now. And Meta's using it. They can see what you've put in there. They can use the image and find the people that it matches with. That sounds like magic, but it's able to do that. And lots of ads still fall flat on this because they're still thinking in this old way of thinking. So what I'm going to encourage you to do before you go and review your ads, maybe you're looking at your competitors, you're thinking about the next set of ads you want to create, ask yourself these three things. Who is the ad talking to? Would that person stop scrolling? And does it feel like a post or like an ad? Okay. The best ads that I see and have performance data behind are the ones that feel more like a post and less like a billboard or a postcard or that traditional ad that we've thought of. So I'm going to show some examples here and talk through how I look at these from a strategic standpoint and how we can use like the different pieces going forward. Okay. This first one is from Pipsticks. It's a sticker company. I am the target market here, which is always fun, is I see this in this one over here, on your left-hand side is what stopped me. I was scrolling, it stopped me. I was very interested. The picture, it looks kind of like I'm looking at my friend's desk and seeing what they're doing. What kind of crafts are they up to? What's happening? And then I realized it was an ad. So it stopped me immediately. The language on it really spoke to me in a sense of like, and my inner child was like, ooh, I could use some stickers. This looks like a lot of fun. And then the language of it says like, you don't need a whole routine to feel better. That lowered the pressure for me to feel like, oh yeah, right. I don't have time to add a new routine into my life. Maybe this is a good one to start with. So the ad together really worked well for me. And I think it works well for them, I'm going to guess, because it looks a lot like, I love it, Jordan. Yes. I'm like, I haven't bought these yet, but I've been thinking about it a lot in the last few days. So they're doing something that's connecting with people, especially, they're into this journaling era that we're in. So I went and looked, what else are they running right now? And I found this ad with the roller skates, and it stopped me for the wrong reasons. If you look at it closely, the copy and the graphic don't work together. The roller skates to me still have nothing to do with stickers. I'm not sure where where this came from. It felt more like an ad or an article rather than me hanging out with somebody and getting to know them better. And this the line in here, sparkly envelope of joy, did not pull me in emotionally, did not connect with me. So this is a great example of they have this is the exact same product. You click on this, you're going to the same product page, same brand, but very different results they're going to get. I will say I'm glad they have to, because I'm sure they're testing it and they're going through rotations of saying, well, this one might work better. We're going to keep trying other things. And that's how you get good data, is you try these things all together. But I would be curious if you had thoughts either too, of when you look at these, does that stop you? Does that keep you interested in going? Okay. I have one more set of examples, and this is Sun Country Airlines, same brand. These are all reaching a variety of audiences. You have the fun, they're not maybe honeymooners. You got the family with the young family going somewhere, but they have the fun weekend with the girls or with the friend trip kind of thing. These all have very different energy, and they all have one line. I love that they used a one line in their primary text. But the changes here don't need to be dramatic for them to use it across different audiences. If you look at the ads, they all can actually rotate. It's kind of like this puzzle where they're like, we're going to put this one with this headline, and we're going to try it over here too. And they're able to get a lot of data out of this because they have lots of different options to work with. And then they're trying to hit all of their audiences at the same time, because they do have a broad audience that they can reach, but they're targeting them in with the photography that is a little more natural. It's a little, it's not overly edited graphic. So these things to me all stood out, as I think these are great examples of ads that I think are very approachable for a lot of businesses. Okay. So here's your test: is when you're developing your ads, you're putting them together, you put them out into the wild, does your ideal customer stop scrolling for this? Would they do that? Does it feel like a post or an ad? How can you bring that in? How can you make it feel more like a post that maybe even as you as a brand would put out there, rather than some highly developed ad? Does this language sound like a real person? And something I haven't brought up at all today is AI, but this is an example where if it doesn't, AI can help you and it can push you and it can give you direction. But if it reads like AI and it looks like AI, I'm going to highly suggest you cut it. Use real language, use field photography and images. Act like you're a person talking to another person in these ads. And then you're going to, number 4 is, would it work for you if you saw it in your own feed? So keep those things in mind as you're building out these, building out your ads. So your action item number 3, take a minute and to look at your ads the way your audience does. You can test one that doesn't look like an ad and see what happens. That's what I want to ask you to do, because more ads is going to be more information that you can keep learning from and constantly keep rotating and playing around with and testing out. Okay, so today we learned that the path to better conversions is having that broader structure, and that it helps reward success within Meta. I'm going to ask you to trust the system and drop the audience targeting. And then you're going to let the people tell you what works through your creative, and use creative as targeting, and keep making more of them and see what works. Okay. If you need any help, I'm happy to talk to you through any of your frequency questions, your campaign structure. My email address is here. It's lyndee.pfaffenbach@fungimarketing.com. We'll say a lot of everything we talked about was within Meta system. If you're seeing great click rates and your ads are performing really well, but you're not getting conversions, I'm going to have you go watch the landing page, the website Losing Leads webinar, because a lot of that means is that they're getting to your website and then they're not converting there. And that's where a lot falls there. And so I encourage you to go watch that. That's on the webinars page on our website. So, okay. Are there any questions that came in? I'll leave this up for another 30 seconds or so, and then we'll answer them.
Yeah, thank you so much, Lyndee, for that. We do have a few questions. The first one is, what is Lyndee's favorite sticker? Do you have a favorite sticker?
Okay.
It's like asking to pick a favorite child.
I have one. I haven't. My problem is that I don't use them. I'm still the child of like, I got to use the stickers. I have one that says "Stay Weird," and it has like an axolotl on it, a jellyfish, and some other weird things. And so, stay weird. Yeah,
I like it. All right. So one of our questions was, how can I see what meta ads my competitors are running?
Okay, that's good, because anybody can go to the website. It's facebook.com/ads library. Okay, we'll have to find the link and drop it in. But there's an ads library in Facebook that you can look at and put somebody's business name in, and it will show you the ads that they're currently running. That's how I'd approach that. That's where I got a lot of all the examples today, is I can find them and then went into the library and found it. Did you get them?
Yeah, it is. It's facebook.com/ads/library.
Yes.
So, okay. The next question is, how long should I let Meta learn before deciding a campaign is not working?
Yeah, a lot of that is data driven. how much can you get if you're not able. So a lot of that is going to say, how much are you able to spend and put behind it to get enough data to make those decisions? If you're getting that limited learning warning, Meta doesn't have enough information yet to really give you direction. General rule of thumb, I would say 3 to 4 weeks before you start making any drastic changes. I'd love to say 3 months, but we know we don't have that. We always have that kind of time. So,
and so one of the other questions was, how often should we revisit our audience settings?
Yes, if you're setting up in this new way where you don't have the layers and layers of audiences, you don't have to revisit that very often. If you want to change geo, you can, expand it, narrow it in if you need to. If you are using the audience settings lots of different layers, I'd revisit that every month, 6 weeks, kind of say, is it targeting them? Is it working? Which ones is it pulling in or not?
Okay. Is there a minimum daily budget you'd recommend before creating additional campaigns?
Yes, I was looking at, there's going to be a point where if you're spending, $30, $50 a day, and you've been doing that consistently, I'm hesitant because Meta wants you to spend more than that, of course, to really get the results. But to start doing like a retargeting campaign, you can do that. You can do that for $10 a day. I think that's a good starting point to pull out and add in, not pull out, but to add in another $10 and to grow that $10 to $20. You can start doing that. Otherwise, I'd be looking to, if your focus is on new audiences, to keep pushing that direction.
Okay. What do you do if you don't have any like gorgeous, authentic photos that you've obviously taken yourself or anything like that? Like, what should someone do?
Yeah, there is some stock photography out there you can use. No matter what, I will say, every time we've done even a fine stock photography against somebody's iPhone picture, the iPhone picture still performs better. So I would say go out and take pictures, do what you can. If you absolutely cannot, I would work towards that though. You don't have to. We love to get some great professional photography done that can look casual and candid and not too overly posed. But even a good iPhone picture has done us a lot of good for our clients.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So the last question we'll ask today is, what's one piece of Meta ads advice that's become outdated that you see people still following? If you had to pick one.
If it's one, it's the audience targeting. It's not letting the algorithm of Meta do the work that it's built to do and trying to force it into this mold that it doesn't work like that anymore. And I wish more people would say that out loud, because really we feel stuck in this old system and not wondering why Meta is not working like it used to, or why it's not working like it should, or we're not feeling like there's a mix match of who's coming in and who's not. So I think that's the big one we need to focus on.
Okay, great. Well, thank you everyone for joining us today. Lyndee, thank you so much for this wonderful snack break. And like Lyndee said, if you have any additional questions or want to talk through anything, feel free to email Lyndee, or you should have an email address in your confirmation email that you can reach out to as well. So I hope everyone has a great day. Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.